Tolu Odugbemi. You're most welcome, sir. And his lovely wife, who is seated next to her. You're most welcome. A round of applause for her, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have the co-editor-in-chief, who also happens to be the 11th Registrar of the University of Lagos and the current Director at Banifo Digital Research Center in person of Dr. Taiwo Folasade Ipaye, FNIM. You are most welcome, man. I will go on to recognize other persons, but not to waste further time. Ladies and gentlemen, please can we all be upstanding as we take the second stanza of the national anthem, which will serve as our opening prayer for today's event. Ladies and gentlemen, please. O God of creation. Yeah? Okay.
We shall start with the anthem and then we shall say the prayer. Thank you. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call obey, to serve with heart and mind, with love and strength and faith. The labor our heroes past shall never be in vain, to serve with heart and might, one nation bound and freedom, peace and unity. So shall we do the second stanza as prayer, please? O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youths the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true. Great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice reign. Amen. Amen.
Thank you very much. Our guest is Ms. Yinka Davis. A round of applause for her, please. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are most welcome. We greet you all, and we look forward to a very warm event today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at your program, we can see that we are moving on very well. Unfortunately, the Vice-Chancellor is not here right now, but she will join us, so we'll take her speech later. Without wasting further ado, I would respectfully want to call on the representative of our chairman of today's event, Professor David Adewale Oke, to please give the chairman's speech. A round of applause for him, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I had sat down all day trying to draw up the protocol list. However, I'm sure the Vice-Chancellor and the principal officers will be here, so I will recognize them. So the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Folasade Ogunsola, OON, our chief host. The DVC Development Service, Professor Ayodele Asenwa. The DVC MS, Professor Elo Chuku. The DVC A&R, Professor Bola Obo. The Acting Registrar of the University, Mrs. Esther Makinde, the Bossa, University of Lagos, Mrs. Funmilayo Adekunle, the University Librarian, Professor Oyetunde Zaid, visiting VC present, I recognize my good friend, Professor Muyiwa Odusoya, the Vice-Chancellor of Lagos State University of Technology, principal officers of other universities present, special guest of honor, Professor Kofoworola Ogun. Yeah, our book reviewer, Professor Duro, our most respected Professor Duro Oni. The book authors, my mentor, a man of timber and caliber, Professor Tolu Odugbemi, former Provost College of Medicine and former Vice-Chancellor, University of Lagos. And we cannot but mention the other reviewer, the other author, Dr. Taiwo Ipaye, a disciplined and principled administrator of the university. Royal fathers present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I was comfortably sitting down watching my favorite program last night when I got a call from Sir Steve Bamidele Omojafor, OON, who happens to be my in-law. He's married to my senior sister. And he said he was going to give me a task which I cannot refuse. I knew he was going to be here today to chair this occasion, but he told me that he had an urgent call from Agbo. That's where he comes from. And I think it's a family issue. He has to fly into Agbo this morning and asked me to represent him. Of course, I knew I was going to be here today as provost. And even if I wasn't provost, I knew that I had to be here because of the two giants that we are celebrating today. So I would read the chairman's speech, and it goes like this. A brief remark by Sir Steve Omojafor at the presentation of the compendium of essays titled A Practical Approach to Contemporary Tertiary Education Management in Nigeria, edited by Professor Tolu Odugbemi and Dr. Taiwo Ipaye, today, Tuesday, December 19th, 2023, at the University of Lagos in the famous Professor Tolu Odugbemi Hall. Education remains one of the strongest pillars on which any country can develop and function effectively, and Nigeria is not an exemption. But that Nigeria has since post-colonial days ignored education at all levels has remained one of the biggest disasters in the overall socio-economic development of the country. And what are these challenges, we might ask? I will list a few as follows: poor infrastructure, lack of teaching aids, shortage of qualified teachers, and poor learning environment. Others include poor planning, weak administration, inadequate academic staff, brain drain, so-called the Chakma syndrome, as is now referred, incessant strike actions, and lockdowns. Added to these, that our educational system is plagued with numerous social vices, including admission rackets, examination malpractices, cultism, hooliganism, corruption, insecurity, lack of adequate research, leading to lack of data and policy inconsistencies. All these, without doubt, negatively impacts on education administration in Nigeria. But what are the possible solutions? Regrettably, the government continues to exhibit flagrant disrespect for the university system and the lecturers, particularly in the areas of remuneration and welfare. It is in Nigeria that ordinary local government councillors earn higher wages than the university professors. If indeed education is to be accorded its pride of place, our government needs to start restructuring their budget to give the required impetus to the education sector and to reduce the incessant clashes between the authorities and the universities. It does appear, however, that the new federal government is beginning to listen to the voice of reason. The alarming rate at which universities spring up in the country has also been a major concern to people like me, as there has been a big tendency in lowering standards in the quality of lecturers and the products of these institutions. I submit that the National Universities Commission needs to take a harder look at requirements for setting up new universities, which has currently become an ill-comer's affair. In conclusion, I believe that this book, A Practical Approach to Contemporary Tertiary Education Management in Nigeria, which is a compilation of essays by 25 eggheads selected by the top universities around the country and edited by Professor Tolu Odugbemi and Dr. Taiwo Ipaye, certainly attempts to provide a panacea for giving the Nigerian education system the most needed doses of injection to wake it up from its deep slumber. I say congratulations, sir and ma, for doing a great job. I call on all present at this hall to please relax and enjoy the latest hot academic offering from our two distinguished professors and notable contributor. Thank you for listening. Sir Steve Omojafor, OON Chairman, Board of Trustees, Augustine University, Ilara Ekpe. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Can we give him another round of applause, please? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would also want to specially recognize some persons who are also here before we take the other items. Please join me to recognize the chaplain of Chapel of Christ Our Light in person of Pastor Azuka. You're most welcome, sir. Also here with us, we have the Director, Quality Assurance and Servicom, Professor Olufemi Shaibu. You're most welcome, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please join me to recognize the presence of the Vice-Chancellor, Lagos State Science and Technology, in person of Professor Olumuyiwa Odusonya. You're most welcome, sir. We also have with us Professor Richard Adegbola. You're most welcome, sir. Thank you for coming, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, just arriving, we have the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Academic and Research, Professor Bola Obo. You're most welcome. Thank you for coming. At this time, I want to respectfully call on the Director, School of Foundation Studies, and the former Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies, Professor Solomon Akimboye, to please come forward to introduce the book reviewer of today's occasion. Professor Akimboye, a round of applause for him, please.
Thank you very much, the MC, the chairman of this occasion, other members of the low table, because we don't have any high table, members of the low table. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on the existing protocol as already established by our provost, who is ably representing the chairman of this occasion. May I request Professor Duro Oni to rise up as I read his brief profile. Professor Duro Oni was born in Minna, Niger State, on the 15th of December, 1952. He is from Iwoye-Ijesha in Osun State. He was the immediate past president of the Nigerian Academy of Letters between August 21 and August 23. He was Deputy Vice-Chancellor at the University of Lagos from 2013 to 2017. Dean, Faculty of Arts from 2009 to 2013, and Ed, Department of Creative Arts from 2006 to 2009. He was also the Chief Executive of the Federal Government Parastatal Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, that's CBAC, from 2000 to 2006, and served as Special Advisor to the Honorable Minister of Culture and Social Welfare, Youth and Sports from 1990 to 1992. His research interests are in theater arts design and aesthetics, cultural studies, and the Nigerian creative / film industries. Professor Duro Oni has 10 books and over 60 articles in national and international outlets. He holds the BFA and MFA degrees in Performing Arts Design and Technology from the California Institute of the Arts and a PhD in Theater Arts from the University of Ibadan. He is also an alumnus of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, Regional Entrepreneurship Acceleration Program of the Sloan School of Management. Professor Duro Oni has also traveled widely and has trained in and or visited some 60 countries in all the continents. He is married to Francisca from Ogoja in the Cross River State, and the union is blessed with 2 daughters, 2 sons, and 5 grandchildren. Professor Duro Oni retired from the services of the University of Lagos on the 15th of December 2022 and was awarded a gold medal for meritorious service at the 68th convocation ceremonies on the 18th of January 2023. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I request Professor Duro Oni to come to the podium to review the book. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Akiboye, our Dean of Deans. The chairman of the occasion, the editors, the special guest of honor, I have been given 25 minutes to review the publication, which really should have taken 1 hour. But let me say that I intend to keep very solidly to that period. So I've set my phone stopwatch to ensure that I do not go past the 25 minutes allotted. The book review of a practical approach to contemporary tertiary education management in Nigeria, edited by Tolu Odugbemi and Taiwo Ipaye. It's published by the University of Lagos Press and Bookshop. The publication of 19 chapters with a foreword by Dr. Daniel K. Olukoya, Professor of Biotechnology and Chancellor, Mountain Top University, who is also the General Overseer of Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries. It is often said that you cannot judge the content of a book from the cover. This may not be true in this case, as you can indeed draw inferences from the cover of this publication being reviewed. First, it is edited by two distinguished personalities, and their names are on the cover. A former Vice-Chancellor, two-time Vice-Chancellor, and a former Registrar of the University of Lagos. The publication in the design also has a pile of books rising to the sky and two characters with symbolic features of thinking, critical thinking, and a laptop for inputting their thoughts. Contributors. The array of contributors from federal, states, and private institutions outside Nigeria gives credence to the wide net cast by the editors in attracting the contributions. These comprise present and former vice-chancellors, deans, former deans, directors of academic planning, professors of marketing, pediatrics, pathology, library and information science. Others include deputy registrars, auditors, as well as presidents of NGOs and a media practitioner. All of them bring in different perspectives and add to the richness of the publication. There are 18 chapters and a conclusion. The conclusion is just a short one, but chapter 1, Connecting the Classroom to Reality, Making Tertiary Education Functional by Wuraola Ajibade. It examines the existing educational system in Nigeria, particularly in the context of colonial legacies and their impacts on contemporary education. Ajibade begins by questioning the relevance and applicability of tertiary education as it is currently structured, drawing on personal experiences from her pharmaceutical chemistry studies. She highlights the disconnect between academic learning and practical applications, urging a re-evaluation of educational paradigms. The second chapter, Leveraging the Changing Work Culture to Drive Innovation in Service Delivery, provides a comprehensive examination of the evolving role of university administration in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, focusing particularly on the University of Lagos experience. The chapter written by Ipaye discusses how universities traditionally centered on teaching, research, and community service have undergone significant transformation in administrative roles and responsibilities due to technological advancements and the pandemic's impacts. Chapter 3 of the publication, In Times Like This, Context and Creativity in a Post-COVID-19 Economy, by my friend Femi Odugbemi, explores the profound changes in the global economy and workplace brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, focusing on the need for creativity and adaptability in a post-pandemic world. Odugbemi emphasizes the transformative potential of this period and the potentials of storytelling as pivotal skills in the evolving marketplace. The author's argument revolves around the idea that the pandemic serves as a reset button, providing an opportunity for rethinking and reinventing various aspects of life and work. Chapter 4, Selection Process and Appointments in Tertiary Institutions in Nigeria by Bolariwa Arowosegbe, discusses and delves into the intricacies of selection process and appointments within Nigerian tertiary institutions. Arowosegbe emphasizes the critical importance of meticulous selection procedures to ensure that the engagement of the most qualified candidates in academic, administrative, and technical roles. The chapter presents a comprehensive overview of the recruitment and selection process in Nigerian universities. Chapter 5 by Elijah Ayolabi, the Vice-Chancellor of Mountaintop University, focuses on the evolving landscape of university education in Nigeria, particularly highlighting the role and impact of private universities. Ayolabi discusses the challenges and prospects of private universities and their influence on the larger education system. The chapter provides a thorough analysis of the challenges facing Nigerian tertiary education, including funding issues, staff shortages, infrastructure deficiencies, and academic corruption. Chapter 6, Issues in Tertiary Education in Nigeria by Ibiyemi Ibilola Olatunji Bello, Vice-Chancellor of the Lagos State University, and Lateef Salami, offers a comprehensive examination of the various challenges facing tertiary education in Nigeria. The authors delve into critical issues such as inadequate funding, incessant strikes, brain drain, and the impact of globalization on higher education. The chapter is well structured and presents a coherent argument highlighting the complexities of managing tertiary education in Nigeria. The authors support their claims with relevant data and references, providing a detailed analysis of the current state of Nigeria's higher education. Chapter 7 by Fatima Kiari, Essential Components to Consider when Setting Up a Medical School. Kiari presents a detailed guide on establishing a medical school in Nigeria. The chapter thoroughly explores the essential components required for setting up a successful medical institution, including forming an establishment team, setting a vision and mission, conducting needs assessment, securing funding, and fulfilling approval and accreditation requirements. The chapter makes important contribution to the field of medical education in Nigeria. Chapter 8, Concepts on Simulation-Based Teaching Experience for Clinical Education in Nigeria by two authors, Rachel Umoren and my dear sister, VC Chinyere Ezeaka, delve into the application and potential of simulation-based teaching in Nigerian clinical education. The authors offer a historical perspective on simulation in medical training, emphasize its importance in modern medical curricula, and discuss the specific contexts and challenges of implementing such methods in Nigeria. In conclusion, the chapter makes a significant contribution to the field of medical education, particularly in the context of emerging technologies and methodologies in teaching. Chapter 9, Strategic Marketing Plan to Enhance Tertiary Education Institutions in Nigeria for Patronage by Other Countries by Bolajoko Dixon Ogbeche. That's a professor of marketing at the University of Lagos. She plans the global appeal and patronage of tertiary education in Nigeria. The chapter meticulously outlines the stages involved in developing a strategic marketing plan emphasizing the need for such institutions to position themselves effectively in the competitive global education market. The author underpins the arguments with a detailed explanation of the marketing mix elements of product, price, praise, promotion, people, process, and physical evidence. Chapter 10 of the 18.5 chapters discusses financing tertiary education in Nigeria and compares Nigeria to the UK, Canada, and the USA by Maria Agbemi Akimaye, delves into the critical issue of financing tertiary education in Nigeria by comparing it with the systems in the UK, Canada, and the US. The chapter extensively discusses various funding sources, the challenges faced due to inadequate funding, and the resultant impact on the quality of education and infrastructure in Nigeria. The chapter is a valuable resource for policymakers, educational administrators, and researchers interested in educational finance. It underscores the need for Nigeria to diversify its funding sources and adopt more sustainable models to enhance the quality and accessibility of tertiary education. Chapter 11, Rethinking Quality Tertiary Education, a case for indigent students by Olanle Simamora, makes a compelling argument about the importance of providing quality tertiary education to indigent students. Mamora effectively uses a manufacturing analogy to highlight how universities should be mindful of the diverse backgrounds of their students to maintain the quality of their finished products, the graduates. The chapter stands out for its thorough analysis of how economic disparities impact educational opportunities and outcomes, particularly for disadvantaged students. Chapter 12, Library Services in Tertiary Education System in Nigeria, by Ahioma Ibegwam, Abimbola Labake, Agboke, and Rose Ezebe, provide a comprehensive analysis of library services within Nigeria's tertiary education system. The chapter begins by defining the concept of a library and then delves into the various types of libraries, focusing particularly on academic libraries in tertiary institutions. It outlines the essential roles these libraries play in the university system. I have done 14 minutes and 21 seconds, and I think it's still going on. Okay. Chapter 13, Strengthening the Capacity of Postgraduate Education in Nigerian Universities, Issues and Challenges by Solomon O. Akimboye, offers a critical examination of the capacity of postgraduate education in Nigerian universities, highlighting various issues and challenges. The chapter's strength lies in its comprehensive approach to examining the postgraduate education system, combining theoretical frameworks with practical realities. Akimboye effectively uses statistical data and references from credible sources, including national policies and expert opinions, to support his claims. This lends a significant degree of validity and persuasiveness to his arguments. Chapter 14, Establishing a Culture of Excellence in Research in Tertiary Education System in Nigeria, Challenges and Opportunities by Richard A. Adegbola, meticulously addresses the challenges and opportunities in establishing a culture of excellence in research within Nigeria's tertiary education system. The chapter is robust in its assessment, demonstrating a clear and coherent argument supported by relevant data, including statistics and reports from credible sources, such as the World Economic Forum and the World Bank. Adegbola effectively contextualizes the status of research in Nigeria within the broader African landscape, providing a comprehensive understanding of the issues at hand. Chapter 15, Recurring Ethical Issues in Nigeria's Higher Institution by Lai Olurode and Idris Animasha, provide a poignant analysis of the ethical dilemma in Nigeria's higher education system. The author's argument is grounded in a historical perspective, contrasting the past reverence for universities with the current challenges, such as sexual harassment, academic corruption, and the decline in educational standards. This approach effectively illustrates how deeply these issues are rooted in the changing cultural and social dynamics of the Nigerian society. The strength of the chapter lies in its detailed exploration of various ethical issues, supported by specific recent examples that lend credibility and urgency to their claims. The narrative is coherent, systematically addressing each ethical concern and its impact on the integrity of higher education. Chapter 16, Stemming the Tide of Massive Brain Drain in Nigeria by Eyitope Ogunbodede, that's a former Vice-Chancellor of OAU in Ife. The author successfully utilizes a mix of statistical data, historical context, and current trends to articulate the severity of the brain drain and its impact on Nigeria's healthcare system. Ogunbodede highlights the interplay between internal systems issues and external attractions that drive healthcare professionals abroad. In summary, the chapter stands out for its comprehensive exploration of the brain drain issue in Nigeria's healthcare sector, offering new insights into possible solutions and interventions. Its blend of data-driven analysis and policy-focused recommendations make it a significant contribution to the understanding and addressing healthcare workforce challenges in Nigeria. Chapter 17, Improving Employability of the Educational Products of Nigeria's Tertiary Education System, is by Abdulmumuni Hassan Rafindadi, Pioneer Vice-Chancellor of Federal University in Lokoja. Rafindadi provides an extensive overview of the current state of Nigeria's tertiary education system, focusing particularly on enhancing the employability of graduates. Rafindadi's argument is well-structured and coherent, with a clear emphasis on the link between higher education and employment readiness. The chapter effectively utilizes a combination of historical data, regulatory framework, and contemporary challenges to support its claims, which contributes to a comprehensive understanding of the topic. Chapter 18, Developing a New University, the OSUSTEC Experience by Tolu Odugbemi, Taiwo Ipaye, and Amos Akinwande. Though, of course, these are people that are quite involved with the setting up of the university, and it provides a detailed account of establishing the Ondo State University of Science and Technology in Nigeria. The narrative is well structured, with a clear depiction of the challenges and milestones in developing a new university. The authors rely on first-hand experiences and direct involvement in the university's development, offering a compelling and authentic narrative. 20 minutes has gone by. Chapter 11, which is the concluding chapter, is a short chapter. It informs the reader of the strive to draw experience of eminent administrators, leaders, and scholars on a wide range of topics. It discusses the exponential growth in establishment of universities and the attendant poor management and inadequate supervision. The scramble for admission to universities and the culture of seeking assistance by parents and candidates came under heavy criticism. This publication commends the federal government for the renaming of the Ministry of Communication to that of Communication and Digital Economy, and hopes that our institutions and agencies will key into the trend. Recommendations. The publication is well packaged and makes for easy reading. It does not contain too many technical terminologies. It would no doubt be a useful guide and enlighten readers on how to make our tertiary institutions better. Very minor errors were observed. In my view, too minor to be itemized here. However, the figures in color could be of better quality, and that's an advice to the University of Lagos Press, that should they be in a position not to do good color photographs, then they might be better off in making them black and white. The editors and contributors should be commended for putting together this valuable publication. What can we say about the sponsor of the publication, Dr. Daniel Kolawole Olukoya, Professor of Biotechnology and General Overseer of Mountaintop and Miracles Ministry, who also, of course, doubles as the Chancellor of Mountaintop University. But to appreciate him for his contribution to tertiary education in Nigeria. On a lighter note, is there anything missing in this publication? Perhaps the voice of Chief Mrs. Titi Odugbemi should have been heard for her endurance in coping with a workaholic husband. It would have been nice for, for the public to know how those at home cope with people that just don't sit still and keep working and working and working. So maybe in the next edition, it will be nice for us to hear from Chief Mrs. Titi Odugbemi on our own perspective in respect of tertiary education in Nigeria. The book is worth its salt, and I commend the editors and all the contributors. I thank you all for your kind attention. It is now 24 minutes and 23 seconds. Thank you all, and God bless.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for Professor Duro Oni. While in service, Professor Duro Oni has always been a very time-conscious person who keeps to time when either starting a meeting or trying to conclude it within the shortest possible time. Another round of applause for him, please. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to specially recognize some eminent personalities who just walked into the hall. Join me to recognize the presence of the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Development Services in person of Professor Ayo Asenua. You're most welcome. We also have in our presence the Acting Registrar of the University of Lagos in person of Mrs. Olakunle Esther Makinde, MNIM. You're most welcome. Thank you for coming. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have with us right now a former Speaker of Lagos State House of Assembly, a former Minister of Science and Technology, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Senator Dr. Adeleke Mamora. You're most welcome, sir. Thank you for coming, sir. We also have with us here, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Ibiyemi Olatunji Bello, MNIN. You're most welcome, and thank you for coming. At this time, we'll want to have a short interlude just to make us relax and have a very good ambience of today's event. We'll call on the cultural troops who have been invited to grace today's occasion. A round of applause for them as they come up for the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for the troops, please. It's always nice to have a feel of our cultural heritage. It's one of the things we are gradually eroding, but I know with such occasions like this, it brings back nostalgia. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be moving on to the next item on our agenda. But before I do that, our editor-in-chief has requested that I recognize some other persons who have graced today's occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing the presence of the University Librarian, University of Lagos, in person of Professor Yetunde Zai. You're most welcome. We also have the representative of the West African College of Physicians here present. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause for Professor Afolabi Leshi. You're most welcome, sir. Professor Leshi, sir. Thank you for coming, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would want to call on our guest of honor, who would be giving his remarks and the presentation of the book. Join me as I welcome Professor Kofoworola Ogunyankin as he comes forward for his presentation. A round of applause for him, please.
Well, it's almost noon. The Vice-Chancellor, the chairman of this occasion, distinguished leaders and members of the Nigerian academia, ladies and gentlemen. I applaud Professor Odugbemi and Dr. Taiwo Ipaye for assembling a dream team of intellectuals who have been involved or are currently involved in the management of tertiary care education in Nigeria and abroad to write this book. The book comprehensively addresses the core essentials of setting up a tertiary institution and the intellectual vision, infrastructure, manpower, and financial resources needed to make the institutions run. It also covers the principal role of tertiary institutions in the development of the communities they are part of. In addition, this book discussed some of the not so pleasant topics about the calamities that have befallen our Nigerian tertiary institutions. So I recommend this book to everyone who is interested in participating in the rehabilitation of Project Nigeria. And also for people who are only interested in criticizing everything because they can never see anything good in Nigeria. Perhaps they will change their perspective. I don't know exactly why I have been selected to be a special guest of honor on this occasion, and I hope it's not nepotism. Professor Odugbemi is my cousin, but I thought he probably selected me as a representative of the generation that proudly received a made in Nigeria university education at a time when Nigerian universities ranked with the best universities in the whole world. It was possible to take the American medical licensing exams when you were still in university in Nigeria during my time. Not like now where you have to fall through thousands hoops and be revalidated. That was because our education was, our medical school education was considered at par with the medical education in the United States and everywhere else. We did not have JAPA in those days, but we checked out as in Andrews. There's a big difference between the two phenomena. The big difference now is in how people are received abroad. JAPA individuals are seen as economic migrants who should be grateful for whatever exploitative abuse is meted out to them, while the Andrews competed for the highest levels of intellectual accomplishment with the locals, and they were similarly compensated. I am one of the Andrews that checked out, and like an ostrich, buried my head in academia for almost 30 years before coming back. So I missed the transition of Nigeria that I knew to the Nigeria I met. However, on my return, I see almost this apocalyptic decline in Nigerian society. The disregard for the high quality of education we were renowned for, neglect and devaluation of the welfare of the providers of tertiary care, and even the distracted, purposeless attitudes of many of the graduates from our universities. I felt distressed in a peculiar way because you had this feeling, perhaps my made in Nigeria educational experience was made up because that education is anachronistic to the climate that exists in Nigeria now. I felt as if I imagined or fabricated my history. This book has restored my hope and revalidated the fact that it was indeed true that I had those experiences, because it describes things that existed in my time that are now extinct. So where do we as Nigerians go from here? We won't go far by pointing fingers because there's enough blame to go around. There's also not going to be any sponsor of a Marshall Plan for Nigeria. So we have to, at individual level, ask ourselves, what is our contribution to ourselves and what is our value to our community at individual level, not pointing fingers at anybody else. We are a nation of highly intelligent people. Imagine the transformation we would have if every 10-year-old is inspired and expected to acquire a foundation of a sellable skill by the time they are aged 15, that must involve being able to communicate and collaborate with others. If we achieve this, we will have informed undergraduates who are using modern ICT technologies to solve complex problems. And we will have people who are going to do the research that will help us leapfrog all the nations ahead of us, because we are operating at the levels Nigeria used to operate. The current approach to education funding is not affordable, not sustainable, and does not yield any good return on investment. Universities must be allowed to charge whatever it takes for their programs to run. Even in Nigeria here, for example, private universities charge up to 10 times the tuition that public universities charge for the same degree. Why? And even now, our migrated youths are being made to pay 10 times more than what they pay for a whole degree for 1 year of useless education that should not last a semester. And yet here we are protesting when universities want to charge what would allow them to run. We have to change. Government should provide funding for power generation, security, and broadband communication for all tertiary institutions, be it private or public. Then the government should award special grants to set up self-sustaining centers of excellence within the institutions. With power and broadband, Nigerian students can receive didactic lectures both from their local institutions, other institutions within the country, or internationally. This is going to lead to some compression of our bloated workforce, but lead to highly motivated instructors who are very well compensated and who would have a business to ensure that they keep their jobs, and we would not have strikes. University systems have to be the best consultancies available. After all, that's the citadel of learning, and that's where all the new things are supposed to emanate from. So let the universities demonstrate that they are exemplars of the skills they are trying to impart on the learners. So if the skills are useful, they will be patronized both locally and internationally. That's the way it is in other parts of the world. Imagine if 60 to 100 million Nigerians have the skills to provide sellable skills and services. Then we wouldn't be worried about JAPA, because we will be training people who are going to, wherever they go, to perform tasks that they are extremely good at, and they will be well compensated. And so Nigeria would actually be exporting expertise. Some countries that don't have our resources are doing that. Thailand and all those other areas in the field of hospitality, and some other Asian countries, and India in the field of biotechnology, in the field of ICT and technology. We have a population of 200 million. Rather than it being a liability, it should be an asset. But we're not going to do it by shouting and waiting for Hosanna to come and bail us out. Every individual has to ask themselves, what is my value to the society? And if you don't have value yet, go and find one. Once again, I congratulate the editors and authors of this compendium of information on what it takes to create and run tertiary institutions, and for challenging all of us to see the scope of the problems and what could be done to make our lives better. And I hope everybody who reads this will be challenged to see how we can move from where we are now to where we deserve to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, by the kind permission of the Editor-in-Chief, please join me in recognizing the presence of the representative of the General Overseer, Mountain of Fire, and worldwide, in person of Professor S. Ade Ojo. You're most welcome, sir. I was told by the Editor-in-Chief that the General Overseer himself would surely be here briefly. So while we await his arrival, Professor Ade Ojo will be standing in his place. Also, the next person will have to pardon me because the co-editor or the Editor-in-Chief has directed me to do this work. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm round of applause for Mr. Olu Akomu, the former Executive Director, FCMB. You're most welcome, sir. Thank you for coming, sir. For those who came in after we rendered we listened to the rendition of the national anthem. Oh, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, just citing the General Overseer, MFM Worldwide, Dr. D.K. Olukoya. You're most welcome as you come in, sir. Thank you for gracing today's occasion. Like I was saying, we had a wonderful rendition of the national anthem. This was taken by Ms. Yinka Davis. A round of applause for her once again. We also have in our midst a lawyer, an educator, and an actor in person of Mrs. Fadikemi Olumide Aluko. A round of applause for her. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're indeed glad to have in our midst the General Overseer, sir. Thank you for coming, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would want to call on the representative of the chairman and chief launcher to please come forward and take charge of this particular occasion. But before he comes forward, we also have in our midst the Vice-Chancellor of Mountaintop University in person of Professor Ayolabi. You are most welcome, sir. Thank you for coming, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Kindly permit me to recognize the presence of the principal officers of the University of Lagos, Professor Ayo Asenua, Professor Bola Obo, and the acting registrar, Mrs. Esther Makinde. Permit me to recognize the presence of my predecessor, Professor Folabi Leshi, Provost College of Medicine before I got there. Permit me also to recognize people who have interacted with from time to time. The Vice-Chancellor of the Lagos State University, Professor Ebiyemi Olatunji Bello. Permit me to recognize the presence of a good friend, Senator of the Republic of Nigeria and past Minister of Health, Senator Leke Mamora. Permit me to represent the VC of the Lagos State University College of Tech, a good friend as well, Professor Muiwa Odugbemi. And then permit me to recognize all the principal officers of universities present. I got a letter from the chairman yesterday, which was accompanied by a check, which I haven't opened. Listening to the review of the book by Professor Oni, it appears that book is going to solve a lot of problems for improve the infrastructure and running of day-to-day activities, particularly in the universities. And I hope, because we have a lot of big wigs, the hall is full, that we'll have a good launching today. I'm wearing 3 caps today. The first one is representing the chief launcher. The second one is, of course, representing myself as Provost, College of Medicine, where Professor Tolu Odugbemi was Provost, and finally became Vice-Chancellor to the university. I dock my cap, sir. And of course, the third one is representing myself, who was tutored and nurtured by Professor Odugbemi. Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. So it behoves on me now to call up on ladies and gentlemen, representing everywhere, all infrastructural institutions in Nigeria who are here. The hall is full, but I cannot announce this because it's sealed, but from Sir Steve Omojafor, I am presenting this as the chairman. I put a call to him and he said he wasn't sure that he was informed that he will be launching, because usually there's a chief launcher to every occasion. But I'll get back to him when I talk to Professor Odugbemi, if I get to know how much is there and if there's more to be needed. On behalf of the Provost College of Medicine, I would launch this book for 200,000 for the College of Medicine Library. And on my behalf, I will launch with 50,000 because you have duly trained me, sir. So I have a list here, and in no particular order, I would like to call upon men of distinction, women and women of distinction to do their part in this launch. The first, of course, is the representative of General Overseer MFM Worldwide, who is around. Oh, Dr. D.K. Lukoya is around. I call upon you now to do your launch. And of course, you add a few comments because I know you are very close to Professor Odugbemi. Dr. Taiwo Ipaye has been running around. I think it's high time for her to sit down so that we can acknowledge her for the good job she has done in the company of Professor Odugbemi. Dr. Ipaye, where are you? Please come over. It's time for honors to be given to who honor is due. Dr. Ipaye, come and sit down. No, you're not running around again. I know you are a good administrator, but sit down. Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you can see the way I'm dressing. So shout hallelujah. Can you make it louder? That's better. I'm so happy to be here, to be part of this occasion. I'm so proud of Professor Odugbemi, who was my supervisor during my undergraduate project. And he's still my mentor in the field of science. And I thank God for his life and his wonderful wife. Thank God for Mrs. Ipaye too. This is a very good book, particularly in this time in the history of our country. And I pray that the Lord will use it to bless the nation, to bless our institutions, and the Lord will bless all of you too in Jesus' name. And I pray that this coming year will be a year of blessing for you. Blessings will never depart from your life. You go from strength to strength and from glory to glory. Thank you, gentlemen. God bless you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I have a representative, so my representative will represent me. I with your kind permission, I want to go back to church. I had a representative, but Professor Odugbemi has insisted I must show appearance. So that's why you see me dressing like this. God bless you in Jesus' name.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Next is a man of timber and caliber, a past Speaker of the House of Assembly, Lagos State, a past Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and of course, a past Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Minister of Science and Technology. May I call upon Senator Dr. Leke Mamora.
Excuse me. Please permit me to align myself with the protocol already established. So I will just say, ladies and gentlemen, I've been asked to say a few things and then monetize my support. I think that's what my friend has just told me. The first thing to say is thank
Professor Dike Olukoya, who just left, because I understand that he sponsored the publication. Professor Olukoya is one of the God's generals in Nigeria. And is a man that has combined apostolic zeal with academic excellence. So we very much appreciate him. Next is to thank Professor Odugbemi and Dr. Mrs. Ipaye, who are the editors of this book, for their dedication and diligence to ensure that this is a reality. Well, I'm sure most of you here know my relationship with Professor Odugbemi. So it's a duty for me to be here. But I think it's too late to do that. Thank you very much, sir, and madam, thank you. And of course, acknowledge the esteemed contributors to this publication. And in that regard, I must especially acknowledge my wife, Olanle Simamura, who happens to be one of the contributors in this book. You see, what this has done is to bring to the front burner the issue of tertiary education. And in so doing, it's also adding value to the body of knowledge already in existence. But having said that, it's also important for me to request that we do not forget that we are looking at the apex, that is the tertiary institution, education at the tertiary level. But the educational system is a pyramidal structure. So we have at the base the primary education, then move up to the secondary, then tertiary. So in essence, I'm trying to say that because it's a pyramid, the pyramid cannot stand on its apex. It can only stand on its base. So we need to also pay attention to the primary education. The second thing to say is that we need what I call total and functional education. Total because it also has to address the issue of moral decadence. If we must make a headway. And of course, when I say it has to be comprehensive as well, I'm looking at functionality. Functional education is such that addresses our needs. Our education must be tailored towards our needs as well, so that we can face the challenges, common challenges, basic challenges in our society for it to be functional. The third thing to say is that we need the kind of education that we can be proud of anywhere in the universe, not just in our country. So these are some of the basic things that I think I want us to imbibe. And of course, finally, for the education to continue to deliver on its mandate, we need funding, adequate funding for all the levels of education. And I do hope that the advocacy to get this achieved, we will all get involved in. It's not just those in government, even those who are not in government. So it's on that note, because even though he's not saying it, but I can perceive what he's saying. He's my friend. He's saying, that is, what has all this that you've said come with? I'm a non-serving public officer. Therefore, I'm not going to make the announcement, but I can assure you that I will do the needful that Professor Odugbemi will be proud of. On that note, I say thank you very much.
I have known this man for several decades, and I know he's going to be true to his words. Next, we have Professor Richard Agbola. Sorry, next we have the Vice-Chancellor. Okay. Professor Richard Agbola, consultant. Prof. Richard Agbola to say a few words. Is he around?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. I think that, like the last speaker, I would say all protocols observed. I'm sorry if I'm not doing it well. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, when I was coming, actually, like the pastor who left, Prof is also my mentor. We were together actually with Professor Odugbemi in your lab, learning the rope, as it were, how to write papers and do experiments. So it's I'm grateful to say thank you here and for inviting me actually to contribute a chapter to this book. But because I actually contacted him last night, and knowing who Professor Odugbemi is, I was actually suspecting that he might ask me to say something here. So I prepared. That I learned that from him. Be prepared, don't be caught unawares. So you're going to bear with me. It is truly an honor for me to stand before you today as we gather to celebrate the public presentation of a groundbreaking book, a practical approach to contemporary tertiary education management in Nigeria. I'm particularly delighted to be a part of this momentous occasion because I've had the privilege of actually contributing a chapter to this insightful and comprehensive book. In recent years, the landscape of tertiary education in our beloved country has undergone significant transformations. And thanks to many of you here who have contributed to that. But as we confront the challenges of the present and chart a course for the future, it becomes imperative that we equip ourselves with the knowledge and strategies that we need to navigate the complexities of contemporary educational management. This book is a testament to the collaborative effort of experts, scholars, and practitioners who dedicated their time and expertise to examine the multifaceted aspect of tertiary education in our setting. Each chapter serves as a beacon of wisdom, shedding light on the practical approaches that can enhance the quality and effectiveness of our tertiary educational institutions. My own contribution to the book delves into the challenges and opportunities with establishing a culture of excellence in research in tertiary education system in Nigeria. In doing so, I sought to address the pressing issues faced by our tertiary education system and propose actionable solutions that can be implemented to increase research output. I firmly believe that collectively, these contributions form a roadmap for the improvement of our educational institutions, ensuring they remain relevant, dynamic, and responsive to the evolving needs of our society. As we celebrate this achievement today, it is important to remember that our commitment to excellence in tertiary education, as has been mentioned by the last speaker, is a shared responsibility and cannot be left with governments alone that extend beyond the pages of this book. It is a call to action for policymakers, educators, administrators, and all stakeholders to work together in fostering an environment that nurtures intellectual growth, critical thinking, and innovation. In closing, how many minutes? I see how many minutes? 30 seconds. In closing, I extend my gratitude to the editors, particularly to our indefatigable Professor Tolu Odugbemi, who invited me to participate in it, and the leadership, commendable leadership, sir, that you provided for us, without which we would not have reached the end that we got today. May the book serve as a catalyst for positive change in our tertiary educational landscape in Nigeria, inspiring a new era of excellence, inclusivity, and progress. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Next, we have a very distinguished lady, the Vice-Chancellor, Lagos State University, Professor Ibiyemi Olatunji Bello.
Okay. Dear Daddy and Mommy, Professor and Chief Mrs. Tolu and Titi Odugbemi, the distinguished Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Mamora, all distinguished members of this gathering, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here to honor Professor Odugbemi, who is my mentor. I was never his student academically, but when you have a mentor administratively, he is one. He mentored me as the provost of College of Medicine, and he challenged me to write papers, taught me how to write papers, insisted I must publish a journal with him as the editor-in-chief. And when you are with Professor Odugbemi, you have a lot of things to learn from him. I never knew how to publish a journal, scientific journal, but he put me through. And with that, what I learned from being an editor-in-chief, I transferred it to my colleagues at the and with my guidance, through what I learned from him, we were able to start 2 journals, one for the college and one for the faculty. Professor Odugbemi pushed me. I had a mandate to submit my CV to him every 3 months or 4 months. And if you have to submit a CV, it means that something new must be added to that CV every 4 months. So that was how I was encouraged, and I'm here today where God has placed me. I'm a contributor to the book. It will insist that you must be a contributor. It doesn't matter how busy you are. And I thank you, sir, for pushing me to be a contributor. And I'm very proud to be here to launch this on behalf of my university. We have already sent our check, and I wish Prof. Sir many more years fulfillment, good health, and you continue to be there for us. And Auntie, I wish you good health and strength, the strength of God. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam VC. Next, we have Professor Bayo Oladipo. Professor Bayo Oladipo. He's not around. Next, we have Professor Chinyere Eziaka. Professor Eziaka, are you here? Next, we have Mrs. Wura Ajibade, represented by Mr. Olaniyi Dada.
No, not yet. I don't know the contributors, but not no. Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, elites of Nigerian academia, all protocols observed, please. I'm delighted to be present in this book launching. I happen not to be an academic, nor a medical personnel, but I have a passion for education. I'm representing my sister-in-law, who unfortunately happens to be in the States currently. We jointly have a passion for education. And she said I must represent her personally at Professor Odugbemi's book launching. As a matter of fact, she authored, oh, I'm very sorry. As a matter of fact, she authored the first chapter of the publication. So I'm very grateful, and I thank God for being present. She, of course, she told me that I should represent her passionately and generously, which I certainly would do. And Professor Odugbemi can be very much assured that his aburo has certainly extended her hand to him generously. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, It gives me great pleasure to inform our gathering here that the 13th Vice-Chancellor of the University of Lagos, the University of First Choice and Nation's Pride, is very much with us right now. Join me as we welcome and recognize Professor Folasade Ogunsola, OON, FAS. And we want to use this opportunity, maybe you just quickly do your remarks. Sorry, I know you have a busy schedule, but we want to take it as quickly as possible on your behalf, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. A round of applause for her as she comes forward.
My mentor, Professor Tolu Odugbemi. I'm also Tolu Akogu. Chief Mrs. Odugbemi, distinguished Senator, Dr. Leke Mamora, my fellow mentee, Professor Olatunji Bello, distinguished members of the High Table, management of the University of Lagos, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm still trying to catch my breath. I would have been here earlier, but I was in Ghana, so I'm just coming from Ghana to, I knew I could not miss this outing. Professor Odugbemi has been a mentor, both academically and administratively. I remember when we were in the Department of Medical Microbiology many years ago. I think he was a little exasperated with me because I didn't seem to, I wasn't too worried about many things. I remember he would say, Folasade, you don't have ambition. I said, I have, sir. But I learned so many things from him. Prof was the person who kept pushing and ensuring that I could write. He would get things to do and he would send it to me. He would send students to me to review their work. At that time, I would sit down, I would go through it, then he would go through what I had gone through. And so gradually I learned to write. He pushed, Prof can push you, but it's always in a positive way. So and then he became the provost. He was the dean. He went on to become the provost of the College of Medicine, went on to become the president of the National Postgraduate Medical College, went on to become the Vice-Chancellor. Prof never does anything by mistake. Things don't happen. Prof plans. Prof had planned every step. He went first to treasurer, then he went to because that was the requirement. I wish I could say I could plan as well as Prof. But one thing he also taught me was administration. At that time, I didn't know that that was what he was teaching me. But now when I'm using some of those tools, I'm thinking, this is Professor Odugbemi in action. Prof understood the system. So I'm not surprised that he's come out with this book. Who else could do it? Because in tertiary education management, Prof has been there, not just in the university, but also in the National Postgraduate Medical College. And Prof has been a veteran in tertiary education. And I'm not surprised he did this. He edited it with his daughter, Taiwo Ipaye. Between the two of them, I believe that this book will be a book that would be useful for everyone who wants to administer properly. And certainly the university landscape today requires a knowledge of administration in a way that it wasn't before. There's a lot of changes going on, some good, some not so good. But in addition to that, there's a rapidity in which knowledge is flowing, that we would have to have new strategies to ensure that we harness them. And we need the engine oil of education, which is the administrative aspect, to ensure that we properly capture and master the new changes that are coming.
So I would want to congratulate Prof for this book. I'm not surprised. You had a lot of it in you and it needed to come out. So I'm thankful for that you have blessed us with it. I know that many people have been involved in this writing. Thank you for bringing them together. And I want to recommend to everyone that we must get this book, and we certainly will also be getting it for our library. Thank you very much. And thank you for allowing me to be a part of this and to speak on this momentous occasion. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Finally, can I call on Major General Tilewa Amutu? Is he here?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Prof, sir, I apologize because I didn't know I was going to talk. I was happy just there to greet you later. But I think just like my senior professor, Ogunsola, the VC, has said, Prof is also a mentor, a teacher. I'm a pathologist, hematopathologist, so he was also my teacher during residency, and he has contributed. And just like I was telling someone this morning, I said the one thing about Prof is he keeps in touch. He's always there. He would always send me a message. The only thing I have is I keep telling him, and I'll say publicly, sir, I am not your bro, I am your Omo. So please don't call me a bro from today, since I have protested publicly, because Prof will always say a bro. Even I think 2 days ago, he still said it. I said, sir, I'm not a bro. But I congratulate you, sir, on this. And of course, I want to thank you because you continue to do so many more. So even on behalf of the College of Nigerian Pathologists, I want to thank you for all you're doing and to say that we'll recognize you. And I mean, I will send my personal donation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much to all the launchers. May I just remind you that pledge cards have been circulated. Please fill them and send them to the MC. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Can we give the chairman a round of applause, please? He has done a very good job. And like he mentioned, we have ushers who are going around with the books, and there are pledge cards. So please, if you want to make a transfer or you want to pledge, please kindly see them. There's a small pledge card with the bank details for the book. Thank you very much. At this time, I want to specially recognize the presence of some deans who are here present with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to recognize Professor Folasade Akinshola, the Dean, Clinical Sciences. You're most welcome. She's been here patiently and very quiet. Also with us here, we have the Dean of Social Sciences in person of Professor Adilaja Odukoya. You're most welcome, sir. Thank you for coming, sir. We also have with us the Dean of Deans, the Dean School of Postgraduate Studies. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Professor Shinobi. Thank you very much for coming, sir. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the editor-in-chief has requested that I turn off one mic and switch on the other mic. This other mic makes me rove round. So this is the time where I have the power to give the mic to people for them to make their donations known. So in no particular order, I switch the mic. Thank you very much. So I'm at liberty to move around, sir. Thank you very much, sir. It is always nice to have that grace to stretch and move. I know very well that there are some people who look like me, well-dressed, well sharp-looking. I think it is nice for me to just bring the mic gently to my honorable here, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Please kindly introduce yourself and make your handsome donation, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. All right, my name is Adinka DME. I'm a DBA student at the University of Lagos Business School. Professor Dixon Ogbechi is my supervisor, and I actually came with her this afternoon. So I announce a donation of 20,000 naira. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to recognize Honorable Olowusegi, the PDP representative. Is he around? Please kindly wave your hands. Oh, thank you very much, sir. I was looking out for you, sir. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Terimin, Honorable Oluwaseyi Bamidele. I will support my daddy with 200,000 naira.
Thank you very much, sir. Oh, good. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I recognize the presence of Dr. and Professor Mrs. Makonju. They are very much seated here. I saw them when they came in earlier, but I think my eyes went too far away.
Good afternoon, everyone. My prof, he's a mentor to me, and he always keep in contact, sending me messages, and I thank you because he's an encourager. He did a lot whilst he was VC here. I want to thank God for your vision, and that's what he's always been. And he loves flowers, he loves nature. That's I know of him. May the beauty of God continue to be with you. My husband and myself, we take 4 copies, and that would be private. I'll not announce what we're going to do.
Thank you very much. My round of applause for her, please. She said private donation will be made, 4 copies will be taken. We appreciate you very much, man. The mic is still roving. Some people's phones are ringing. They are checking up. Oh, okay. Thank you very much, sir. Let me take this way, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Mr. Peter Irebu, representing my elder brother, Dr. Kenneth Irebu. Many people have spoken concerning Professor Odugbemi. I'm meeting the prof for the second time. The first time I met him was in his office when my brother was passing his program through him. I remember that day I was in the office and he walked in. He looked at my senior brother. Said, Dr. Nebu, are you reading or are you pretending? Knowing the academic excellence of my senior brother, I was surprised. When he walked into his office, I said, Casey, who is this man? He said, don't talk. That is Professor Odugbemi. Don't you know about it? From then, each time I see him, I ask him about Professor Odugbemi, I only talk about Professor Odugbemi with great passion. So from what I've heard people said about it, I want to believe that Professor Odugbemi is a principality of mercy. It's an institution of academic excellence. It's a warehouse of mentorship. In Nigeria, we have very few like him. Sir, I want to believe you still have more to offer for the society, and I believe that this book is going to be a research reference point to a lot of scholars. God bless you, sir. On behalf of Dr. Irebu, I want to take the 2 copies of the book with 100,000.
Thank you very much, sir. 2 copies of the book is being launched here. Thank you very much. My editor-in-chief, sir, I'm bringing the mic to another of your very illustrious persons here, in person of Professor Ayolabi, the Vice-Chancellor of Mountaintop University. So a round of applause for him as he gives a short.
Good afternoon, everyone. People have said so many things about Professor Odugbemi. Unfortunately, I really don't know Professor Odugbemi that way. My first time of coming across him was when he became the Vice-Chancellor. And from him, I learned that you don't have to go and sit down in the office of the Vice-Chancellor to see the Vice-Chancellor. You can actually interact with the Vice-Chancellor anywhere. And throughout my period as the head of the department, the only time I have opportunity of going to his office is when we have a donation. Every other thing was done via internet. I must thank you for that. It was a big lesson I learned that you don't have to sit down all the day waiting for the Vice-Chancellor. And that has really helped me in my position today. When I see people coming to come and sit down in my office, I send my secretary to ask them, is it that they don't have work or what? Because you have my phone number, you have my email, you can actually interact with me. And oftentimes you see that what they are coming for are often irrelevant things. So please, the second thing I also learned, I wasn't there to learn from you how to write, but I've learned a lot of things because from you, you know how to give deadline. You know how to pursue people to comply and fall in line. You know how to push people, whether convenient or not convenient, and to achieve the goal. You're actually a pace setter, and you know how to get where you are going. And I must say that at this your age, still driving us to do something and to achieve something in life is worthy of emulation. I pray that the good Lord will keep you and give you a very long life and for generations to come so that others can still benefit from your wealth of experience. Putting this book together wasn't an easy task. When he gave me the assignment, I gave several reasons why I would not be able to participate, but he kept pushing me gently and quietly until we achieved the goal. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be part of this. Well, I don't know why this young man wanted me to talk at all costs, but since he has forced me to talk, whatever is our contribution, we'll do that in the secret.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for Professor Ayolabi. At this time, I also want to move to the other aisle. It gives me great pleasure to take the mic to the representative of the West African College of Physicians, ably represented by a one-time provost of the College of Medicine, Professor Leshi. A round of applause for him, please.
Distinguished high table, the authors of the book, our vice chancellors here present, principal officers here present. I am here on behalf of the president of the West African College of Physicians, Dr. Rose Macaulay Jala of Liberia, and the Secretary General, Dr. Prudence Wachino from the Republic of Benin, who have asked me to represent the college at this event. Professor Odugbemi was a principal officer of the West African College of Physicians, and he was the past college treasurer. And of course, he went on to become president of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria. There's no doubt that he has made his mark not only in university administration, but also in postgraduate medical education in West Africa and Nigeria. I want to commend both himself and Dr. Ipaye for this compendium, which I believe, as has been said, will be useful to anyone seeking office, both in academia and in administration, in tertiary institution in Nigeria, and even those who want to know the inner workings and where the future direction of tertiary education is going. So on behalf of the West Africa College of Physicians, I will take a copy. They've asked me to take a copy at an amount I have indicated on the card, and I have already made the transfer on behalf of the college.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you, sir. We'll get that across. As someone is just about leaving, he has asked me to tell, okay, he has gone. Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, I'm Professor Akin Oshiwokun, President of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria, and I'm delighted to be here. Professor Tolu Odugbemi was the president of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria, and he keeps inspiring us. Retired but not tired, and is still academically productive. When I grow up, I want to be like you, sir. On behalf of the National Postgraduate Medical College, I pledge a sum in launching the book. And personally, I'm buying 2 copies of the book for the sum of 100,000 naira. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. You are highly appreciated. At this time, we'll want to take the editor's remarks. He's indeed elated to have each and every one of us here present. I think it's now time for him to really express his profound gratitude to us. Join me as I invite to the podium Editor-in-Chief, Professor Tolu Odugbemi, OON, NNOM, FNA, MED. Thank you very much as you come forward.
Chairman for this occasion, special guest of honor, Chief Host and Vice-Chancellor of University of Lagos. I won't like to embarrass her because most of the time she will not understand my simple language in those days. And once she will not pick simple language out of annoyance, I said, what's wrong with Russia? She was too shy to say it. I've decided to say it out. So popularly, she's a Russian lady because she will not understand my simple Yoruba. Because in Yoruba, you can use your eyes to pass different messages. You can use your finger to pass messages. So I appreciate you for being around. You sent a message to me. I appreciate the message. You also indicated that you were away and you will join us. So you are welcome. The VCs of other universities here, all of you are very, very close to me. And I appreciate you all. DVCs, CEOs, principals, officers of UNILAG. I could overhear a major general asking me not to call her Aburo. But what do you want me to call a major general? Tilewa, I appreciate you. I will always send messages to call you Aburo. And I'm happy to see you coming in a very simple way on this occasion. Book reviewer, Professor Duro Oni, has been very close to me
especially with the love of creative arts. I also admire him along with Peju Layiwola that strolled in. They have been with me many times at Okegbo, and I appreciate them a lot because out of excitement, I will say Duro, Shoti Duro. For those who may not understand, Duro means wait. I'm sure he's waiting. I have done a very good job this morning. Provost College of Medicine, who also doubled as the chairman for this event, he too has 1 minute of saying, Aburo, Aburo. But I don't know how to call all these eminent people because you are eminent and I appreciate you all as being very close to me. Other principals, officers of UNILAG, deans, heads of department, chairman, University of Lagos Auditorium Management Board. That's a lady who has done a wonderful job in making this hall habitable. She did a very immaculate job, and that's Professor Immaculata Ifunaya Nwokoro. Some of them will make joke of me because you will always hear the accented Ekiti or Okegbo at any time I talk. So I will not be original if you don't hear that accent from me. So therefore, if I do not call the Imukalata Ifunaya properly, forgive me. I enjoy how you work tirelessly, and I appreciate University of Lagos making this work very lovely. Folasade Ekusheu. Eminent and revered clergy, elders, because there are quite a number of elders present here. Chiefs, there are those who are on the online, Zuri 24 Media. I listened to Crown Troop of Africa. I was tempted to join them to dance. I just recall that I could not dance as before because I was afraid. Because of retirement, I've lost some weight. So maybe my trouser can fall off. So therefore, I did not join to go and dance when I was enjoying the music. So you did a wonderful job, Crown Troop of Africa. I understand that Professor Duro Oni is in their board, along with Femi. The press, they are wonderful people and my friends. I've seen quite a number of them around. All my friends, I'm in communication with you all the time. My colleagues, well-wishers, present, and those who are online. I know some of my friends from University of Ghana Medical School. They have indicated to me that they are also online. Yinka Davis, I admire you at all times. You sang beautiful well, and I also enjoyed to recognize you as a friend anytime. When Femi initially mentioned that Yinka will be coming around, my mind went through to many Yinka that are my friends. But by the time I learned of battleground, I now say, this battleground, Yinka Davis, who could the person be? And I was immediately reminded, can't you remember Mama Ayo ati Mama Ola? That's in battleground. So let me see you again, Yinka. So thank you very much for performing very well today, and God will continue to bless you. This is honestly a family gathering.
of eminent citizens. Therefore, kindly accept protocol as observed. Family units unite to constitute communities, then forming countries or nations. How we relate to one another is very important in building a peaceful, productive, and safe society. Today, my sincere appreciation goes to my late parents, my wife, Chief Mrs. Tolu Odugbemi, children, grandchildren, extended family, my hometown of Okegbo, as well as other associated communities, academic communities of University of Lagos, College of Medicine, Bluth, LASU, LASUCOM, Mountaintop University, UNIMED, Lagos State University of Science and Technology, Obafemi Awolowo College of Health Sciences, Olabisi Onabanjo University, National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria, very beautifully well represented by Professor Akin Oshibogun, my favorite Aburo. Though you've not been bold enough to say, excuse me, don't call me Aburo, because I will not stop calling you my Aburo, Akin. West African College of Physicians, represented by Aburomi Polu Leshi, wonderful person. The daddy was also my wonderful teacher in pediatrics in those days. And I'm happy that you are carrying a good job. God will continue to bless you. College of Nigerian Pathologists, represented by Iregu's brother, Clinical Microbiology and Infectious Diseases Society, Christ School Ado Ekiti, management, staff, students. One of the students of Osutech has even hinted me that is around. That's somewhere already who is doing his postgraduate studies. Now, I'm happy and proud of you. But godliness with contentment is great gain. That's 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6. This is a Bible verse which my parents were very fond of. They made this passage a clear message to me, my siblings, and my extended family. Glory to God for teamwork, divine guidance, and intervention. This is my popular catchphrase, one that people who have worked with me know very well. I coined it and have often used it to encourage myself and my collaborators to overcome various challenges, whether they be administrative, physical, or social. This spiritual attitude strengthens me, know that through mediation by unknown and visible power, solutions will emerge. The power of God is often manifested in each one of us who are content and God-fearing. This public presentation of a new book, A Practical Approach to Contemporary Tertiary Education Management in Nigeria, edited by Tolu Odugbemi and Taiwo Ipaye, with over 25 eminent scholars from different institutions across Nigeria as contributing authors, is an administrative and academic fulfillment. A landmark project based on unity, respect for humanity, and dignity of labor. Team members and contributing authors already listed in the program, also shown outside, are committed, experienced, and knowledgeable. They are remarkable and uncommon talents
from all parts of the country. They are symbols of excellence. They have inner drive, which is exhibited as a passionate belief in quality education as the key to development in Nigeria, and thus the need for reforms and revival from family, pre-primary, primary, secondary, tertiary, and post-tertiary life working challenges and experiences. Most of the time when we talk of education, we often neglect the family aspect, and I've been paying much attention that family is the basic structure on which you can have good education. Once that family is upside down, education will also be upside down. Conception of this new book. The conception of this new book on tertiary education management has multiple beginnings, but the most relevant for today is that Dr. Mrs. Taiwo Ipaye, PhD, and Professor Amos Akiwande worked smoothly with me, along with and designated OSUTEC as an absolutely contemporary university with its excellent ICT facilities, e-library, and the internet connectivity. He commended extensive farming, various factories, and craft training available at the Center for Entrepreneurship and Leadership Training. Because when we coined that Center for Entrepreneurship and Leadership Training, we recognize the fact that the way Nigerians do handle things inside Nigeria could be faulty. But when they go outside, Nigerians do excel. I received another message from him
that I should be a speaker at the Synod of the Diocese of Ondo, which was held in May 2004. The data and the booklet prepared are published for the Synod entitled later a foundation built upon by co-editors Dr. Mrs. Taiwo Ipaye, Akinwande, late Mr. Yinka Adekalu, in developing an earlier book publication, which we entitled Experiences in Starting a University in a Developing Country Setting in Nigeria, also published in 2016. The public presentation of the book on Wednesday, 23rd November 2016, also in this hall, was accompanied with a rousing reception of the book, with constructive reviews by other team members, notably Professor Ngozi Osanere, Professor H.O.D. Longe, Professor Solomon Akinboye, Professor Bolajoko Dese Ogbeche, Professor Mfunaya Nwokoro, Professor Yemi Obashoru, Dr. Lara Roberts, Dr. John Olowoyeye, Mrs. Olowoyeye, and Professor Abiodun Ayola, and many others. My initial thoughts on the book project were to have a second edition of the book prepared based on the reviews and suggestions to enhance the quality of the book. However, there was divine intervention that prompted a change in my mind during the COVID-19 season. That instead of working on the second edition, work was well worked on a new book entirely, based on contemporary issues in tertiary education in Nigeria. I therefore invited close friends to be contributing authors to the new book project. These close friends include Professor Abdul Momani Rafindadi, Professor Richard Adepola, who also double behind-the-scene editor, Dr. Fatima Kiari, a very good friend at University of Abuja, Professor Eyitope Ogunbodede, Pharmacist Bura Ajibade, Professor Lai Olorode, Professor Ibiyemi Olatunji Bello, Professor Elijah Ayolobi, Professor Chinyere Ezeaka, Mrs. Maria Akimaye, Mrs. Bola Arowosegbe, Professor Ahiema Ibeguan, family members, notably Mrs. Olandesi Mamora, who also is a founder and president of MER Foundation. This is a group that has special interest in indigenous students sponsorship and also special interest in tertiary education. Mr. Femi Odugbemi, my favorite cousin, the founder and CEO of Zuri 24 Media. These are people designated as Akpogun's allies. They are passionate about tertiary education, also contributed chapters, and were actively involved in following up on the development of the book. I thank all the contributors for honoring the invitation to contribute, for complying with strict deadlines, and for their quality write-ups, without which we will not have a book to present today. I must also acknowledge the excellent editorial suggestions by my cousin, Professor Ogunyankin of First Cardiology Consultants, my wonderful brother, Senator Dr. Leke Mamora, CON, former Minister of Science and Technology, for his constructive comments in arrangement of the book launch, and my supportive ever smiling brother from Christ School Ado-Ekiti, Agidimafin, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, CON, former governor of Ekiti State. The immediate challenge after the manuscripts were submitted to me was to approach a competent press to print the book. Of course, University of Lagos Press
was my #1 choice. And I'm happy they did a wonderful job, which we are happy and proud of. So University of Lagos Press, well done. Congratulations for a good job. This was then followed by lots of thinking, sleepless nights, and ruminating in my mind about sources of funding for the production of the new book of our dream, because it was a dream, unless you have it printed out. My ruminations and divine guidance led me to a first-class scholar and a person who I have a long-standing research bond with. I then remembered a former student and a colleague who teamed up with me in my lab in the Department of Medical Microbiology and Physiology, College of Medicine, to embark on a project to screen for plasmids in Neisseria gonorrhoeae and some other agents. Following my return from research study at the NIH CDC in the 80s, that's almost 40 years ago, and who had just completed his PhD in molecular genetics from University of Reading. It was indeed basic pioneering work at that time. But it is interesting today that the man of those days later established the first indigenous laboratory for molecular biology and technology in Nigeria. With his high academic achievements and continued interest in the development of education in Nigeria, I was confident in approaching him to sponsor the new book project. This is to express a heartfelt gratitude to Professor Daniel Kolawole Olukoya, Professor of Biotechnology, General Overseer of Mountain and Fire Miracles Ministries, and Chancellor of University, Mountain Top University, for sponsoring the production and publication of this book. God will continue to bless his missionary works. He was with us briefly, but he was stayed long. But he has preaching assignment as a general overseer. But I just contacted him that it would be nice if he could just show up for 5 minutes. And just showed up for 5 minutes. And he has always been a very humble man. I recall in those days when he was starting his ministry, he would come to my house to teach my children how to play piano. And we would see him off to his combi bus. He would say he was going to pray. And truly he will go, but you can be sure the following day, he will be around again to carry out more of the lessons. But that was not enough for me. Whenever I gave him an assignment, I would find time to go and visit his house. I'm sure he knew that I was not coming to pray. I wonder whether he would be thinking that Baba Ishitunde, because I would just once I got to his quarters, I would just shout, even when praying, Daniel, gently he will come out. Excuse me, is it about that work? You will find it on your table by tomorrow, sir. And truly, he will get it back to my table. Very hardworking young man, and also a man that enjoys a lot of prayers. I knew him right from that time. I was so surprised that I came out with first class when he was finishing with BSc honors. I must also recognize Professor Ibiyemi Olatunji Bello, MNI, and her husband, Honorable Barrister Tunji Bello. They are family friends who care and support morally and financially all projects we do, including logistics for this event. Dr. Mrs. Taiwo Ipaye and her husband, Engineer Bolaji Ipaye, Professor Solomon Akiboye are outstanding team players at all times. Solo is close to my heart. And when I call Solo, people will be wondering whether I was calling a small boy. Because in my village life, you just call the people you love special pen name. Once I shouted Solo, you won't know that you are talking about a distinguished former professor and former dean of postgraduate study, a grandfather being called Solo like a baby. I will come and carry out any assignment faithfully. I just simply love these people. His Grace, Baba Aladura, Professor Amos Akiwande, a hardworking, courageous, selfless, God-fearing, result-oriented achiever, and his wife, spiritual mother, Mrs. Dupe Akiwande, supported us immensely with their encouragement and prayers. Not only that, in future, when more books are being written, some of the stories that have not been revealed will be told, because how the first University for Medical Sciences came on board was not behind him. He worked tirelessly with the selfless team behind the scene. And today we now have many of the University for Medical Sciences all over the country, but many will not know how the idea was conceived. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, you are all highly appreciated for your presence at this book presentation, for your constructive comments and contribution in various forms to this book project on tertiary education management in Nigeria. My numerous friends from Nigerian press are here today. I've seen people like Dr. B.C. Deji Folutile, outstanding press lady, journalist. I also appreciated your even visiting me at Okegbo some years ago. I appreciate you all for your fearless strides in reporting for nation building. Time for change of mindsets. It is time for cultural respect, the orientation, self-value, and human dignity. There must be a total change in mindset of our people in Africa. Time to care for one another, support the weak, and be more productive. Our schools from primary level to the tertiary level need to be fully equipped with comfortable infrastructure, while teachers and all categories of workers are paid salaries, allowances that are comparable to modern countries that value humans and education. It worries me when people deny to pay allowances as when due, or when they hesitate to pay salary that will make people to be able to